One of the largest expenses that most people have actually sits in plain sight. And no, it is not your coffee habit. Every single day, this was supposed to be hot. Oh my God. So in this video, we're going to discuss exactly what that largest expense is, as well as how you can save thousands of dollars per year by understanding the components of this cost and how you can actually make money with all of those savings that you have. So first, we got to understand that most households have the same major categories of expenses and what we spend money on. That's going to be housing. After housing, most of your spending usually falls into a few categories: transportation, taxes, utilities, and everyday living costs. Plus, food, of course. Now, here's the key idea. If you can reduce spending in just one or two of these categories, you can save a lot of money over time. So, let me ask you this. What do you think is the biggest wealth killer? Here's a hint. It's the one expense that varies the most from person to person. And that's exactly why people overlook it. It's transportation. More specifically, cars. Cars are one of the biggest silent wealth killers out there. And the reason is simple. In today's culture, a car isn't just transportation. It's a status symbol. People associate success with what they drive. So what happens? A lot of people end up buying cars that are way more expensive than they can realistically afford. Not because they need them, but because of how it looks. And here's something interesting. I was talking with another finance creator recently, and we both noticed the same thing. People celebrate each other for upgrading their cars, like it's always a win. Nice car, man. That's a big upgrade. But nobody talks about what that car is actually costing them long term. It's always nice to see people driving nice cars. You pull up somewhere, someone rolls in with a brand new ride, and instantly, respect. But what most people don't see is the actual cost behind that image, because it's not just the price of the car, it's everything that comes with it. And as of 2026, things haven't exactly gotten cheaper. Used car prices are still elevated compared to pre-2020 levels. Financing costs are higher, and monthly payments have hit record levels. In fact, a growing number of people are paying over $1,000 per month just for their car. Let that sink in. That's $12,000 a year, before you even factor in anything else. And on top of that, we're still seeing dealer markups on high-demand vehicles. In some cases, people are paying tens of thousands over MSRP just to get the car they want. And then there's the total cost of ownership. According to recent estimates, owning and operating a car in the U.S. can easily cost $11,000 to $13,000 per year depending on the vehicle. That includes insurance, maintenance, fuel, depreciation, everything. So when you really break it down, a car isn't just a purchase, it's a long-term financial commitment. And most people seriously underestimate how expensive that commitment actually is. So let's break down exactly where all that money goes. So let's make this real with an example. Imagine a fairly normal car, something like a Honda Civic. Nothing flashy, nothing extreme, just a reliable everyday vehicle. Even with a car like that, the total cost of ownership over 5 years can easily approach $45,000. That's roughly $8,000 to $9,000 per year. And remember, this isn't a luxury car. This is considered a reasonable choice. Now put that into perspective. The average salary in the U.S. today is somewhere around $60,000 to $70,000 per year. That means a basic, reliable car could be eating up around 15% of your income, or more, and that's before taxes. So when you look at it like that, it becomes a lot harder to build wealth over time, because every dollar going into your car is a dollar that's not being invested. Now, just to be clear, owning a car like this isn't bad. It's actually a pretty reasonable choice, but what most people don't realize is how expensive even a reasonable car really is. So let's break down where all that money actually goes. And the biggest expense? Depreciation. Because almost every car, starts losing value the moment you drive it. So let's talk about the biggest cost of owning a car: depreciation. In simple terms, depreciation is how much value your car loses over time. And here's the reality: almost every car loses value. The moment you buy it, it starts going down. That's why putting a large amount of money into a car isn't really an investment. It's the opposite. You're putting money into something that's designed to lose value. And nowhere is that more obvious than with brand new cars. You've probably heard this before. The second you drive a new car off the lot, it instantly loses value, typically around 10 to 15% right away. So if you want to save money, the smartest move is simple. Don't buy brand new. Instead, look for what many people call the sweet spot. That's usually a car that's about 3 to 5 years old. By that point, most of the heavy depreciation is already gone, but the car is still reliable. You're not dealing with constant repairs, and you're not overpaying for the initial drop in value. In most cases, that means something like 30,000 to 50,000 miles and a solid maintenance history. If you can find a car in that range, you're already ahead of most people financially, because instead of absorbing depreciation, you're avoiding the worst part of it, and that alone can save you thousands of dollars. All right, let's move on to the next category: taxes and fees. This is one of those expenses that you really can't avoid. Every car comes with it: registration, state fees, and in some cases, regular inspections. And while these costs might not seem huge individually, they add up over time. So if you're looking to reduce this category, there's really only one lever you can pull: own fewer cars. Now I know, that's easier said than done. But you'd be surprised how many households have more cars than they actually need. 2 drivers, 3 or 4 vehicles. Every extra car means more fees every single year, more registration, more maintenance, more insurance, and over time, that adds up to real money. That said, this isn't the category where you'll see the biggest savings. Taxes and fees are pretty fixed, which brings us to the next, and much more impactful category: financing. Next up, financing. This is where things get expensive, fast, because most people don't buy cars in cash. Let's be real, not everyone has $30,000, $40,000, or more sitting around. So what happens? You put down a small deposit, maybe $5,000 or $7,000, and finance the rest, which means you're paying interest. And in 2026, that interest isn't cheap. Even with good credit, auto loan rates are often around 6% to 7%, sometimes higher. And if your credit isn't great, you could easily be paying 8%, 10%, or more. That's a huge difference over time, because now you're not just paying for the car, you're paying extra just for the privilege of borrowing the money. So here's the reality: financing can quietly add thousands of dollars to the total cost of your car, and if your interest rate is high, you might want to rethink the purchase entirely. In many cases, it makes more sense to go with something cheaper, older, or used, rather than locking yourself into an expensive loan. Because once you commit to that payment, it's not going anywhere. Now, regardless of whether you finance, lease, or pay cash, there's another cost that never goes away: fuel. Next up, fuel. This is one of those expenses people constantly underestimate, because when someone buys a car, they usually focus on one number: the monthly payment. It's only $500, maybe $600 a month. But what they don't factor in is everything else. Gas alone can easily add another $150 to $250 per month, and suddenly that $600 car is really costing you closer to $800 or more. Over time, that adds up fast, especially if you're driving regularly, commuting, running errands, just living your day-to-day life. Now, can you reduce this cost? A little, yes, but not dramatically. You can choose cheaper gas stations, use memberships or discounts, drive more efficiently. But at the end of the day, if you own a car, you're paying for fuel. And as of 2026, gas prices are still unpredictable and often trending higher over time. Electric vehicles are an option, but they're not always affordable or practical for everyone. So for most people, this cost isn't going away anytime soon. Which brings us to another expense that people often underestimate: insurance. Next up, insurance. This is another expense that quietly adds up over time. On average, car insurance can easily cost around $100 to $150 per month, sometimes more depending on your location and driving history. And just like fuel, it's something you can't really avoid. But here's where it gets interesting. This is one of the few categories where you actually can save money, and most people don't take advantage of it. A simple strategy: once a year, review your insurance. Call your provider. Ask if they can offer you a better rate. And if they can't, start shopping around. Get quotes from multiple companies. Compare the same level of coverage. Because here's the truth: insurance companies compete aggressively for customers. And if they know you're willing to switch, you can often get a better deal. Even saving $20 to $50 per month adds up over time. That's hundreds of dollars per year for something you're already paying for anyway. And this same idea doesn't just apply to insurance, it applies to other bills too. And this idea doesn't just apply to insurance. You can use the same strategy for other monthly bills too. Things like your phone plan, your internet, even some subscriptions. Most people just keep paying the same bill, year after year. But companies don't reward loyalty. They reward attention. So once a year, make it a habit to call. Ask if there are any promotions available. And if not, mention that you're considering switching providers. In many cases, you'll be transferred to a retention team, whose job is to keep you as a customer. And that's where you often get a better deal. It's a simple move, but it can save you hundreds of dollars a year. Now let's move to the final category: repairs and maintenance. This one is a little different, because these costs are harder to avoid. Your car will need maintenance. That's just part of owning it. But there is one way to reduce costs here: knowledge. With so many tutorials available today, you can learn how to handle basic maintenance yourself. Things like oil changes, filters, small fixes, and even doing just a few of these yourself can save you a significant amount of money over time. If you're willing to learn, even basic maintenance can save you a lot of money. Take something simple like an oil change. It's not that complicated. With one short tutorial, you can learn how to do it yourself. And every time you do, you could save around $100 or more in labor. Now think about that long term. If you drive about 15,000 miles per year, you'll likely change your oil around 3 to 5 times annually. Let's say 4 times per year on average. Over 10 years, that's about 40 oil changes. Over 20 years, that's 80 oil changes. And over a lifetime of driving, easily 150 to 200 oil changes. Now multiply that by $100 saved each time. That's $15,000 to $20,000 just from one simple skill. All from learning something that takes less than an hour to understand. And that's really the bigger point here. Small decisions, repeated over time, create massive financial differences. So when you really think about it, something as simple as learning a basic skill could save you $20,000 over your lifetime, all from one small decision: to learn instead of outsource. And that's just one example. Here's another simple tip. Whenever your check engine light comes on, don't panic. Most auto parts stores in the US offer free diagnostics. They'll plug in a scanner and tell you exactly what's going on. That means you don't have to immediately go to a dealership and pay hundreds of dollars just to find out what the issue is. And if you want to take it a step further, you can even buy a simple scanner yourself online. That way, you understand the problem first, and then decide what to do next. Because at the end of the day, the more informed you are, the less likely you are to overpay. Let me give you a quick example. Someone I know once had their check engine light turn on and immediately assumed the worst. They avoided driving, scheduled a service appointment, and waited days to get it checked. Turns out, it was just a loose gas cap. That's it. Something simple. That didn't require a dealership visit at all. And that's the point. Not every problem is a big problem. But if you don't understand what's going on, you're much more likely to overpay. So even a little bit of knowledge can save you time, stress, and a lot of money. Now, here's the final idea, and it might be the most powerful one in this entire video. If you can reduce your dependence on a car, or even live without one entirely, that's where the real savings begin. And this brings us to something most people never think about: opportunity cost. Because it's not just about how much a car costs you, it's about what that money could have become instead. Let's say you're spending around $10,000 per year on a car. Now imagine you took that same money and invested it instead. Over time, that money has the potential to grow. Through compounding, even modest returns can turn into something much larger. And that's the key idea. It's not just what you spend, it's what you miss out on. Because every dollar going into a depreciating asset is a dollar that isn't working for you. Over 5, 10, 20 years, that gap becomes massive. And that's how small financial decisions quietly shape your future. Another angle to consider: where you live. A lot of people don't think about this, but your location directly impacts your expenses. Long commutes mean more fuel, more wear and tear, more time lost every single day. Now imagine this. You pay a little more in rent, maybe $200 extra per month, but you live much closer to work. That could actually save you money overall. And more importantly, it gives you back your time, because time is your most valuable asset. And when you zoom out, this entire conversation comes down to one thing: making smarter trade-offs. So let's quickly recap. Avoid unnecessary depreciation. Don't overpay for a car. Be careful with financing. Interest adds up fast. Don't underestimate fuel and insurance costs. And always look for ways to reduce fixed expenses, because when you control these areas, you free up cash. And that's where things start to change. Instead of spending that money, you can invest it, grow it, let it work for you. And over time, that's how wealth is actually built. So before you upgrade your next car, ask yourself one simple question: is this helping me move forward, or just making me look like I am? So if you're thinking about buying a car, here's the smarter approach. Number 1, buy in the sweet spot, around 3 to 5 years used to avoid the biggest hit from depreciation. Number 2, shop your insurance every single year. Don't overpay for the same coverage. Number 3, if you have multiple cars in your household, consider whether you actually need all of them. And number 4, think about where you live in relation to where you work. Sometimes a small change there can save you thousands over time. At the end of the day, it's not about never owning a car, it's about making sure your money is working for you, not quietly working against you. If you found this helpful, drop a comment below and let me know your biggest expense right now. And if you want more content like this, make sure to subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.